What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ango Show. Today we are live. It is September 3rd, 2025. Normally I start at 12 p.m. Had a little bit of some stuff to get through. But of course, AEW just dropped some crazy breaking news. One that I think could be very satisfactory to a lot of people. Maybe you'll be happy, maybe you won't be happy. We're going to take a look at today's news. But yes, if you look at the title of today's stream, which, by the way, we are live on YouTube as well as X. But if you guys take a look at the title of today's stream, AEW has changed the AEW All Out start time due to WrestlePalooza. So they just came out with some groundbreaking news regarding their event. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dissect it. And we're going to see what everybody thinks. And, of course, I'm going to be doing things today solo. And just as like a quick little announcement, moving forward on the Ango Show Live, I will be running them solo. Billy TKO has been released. And that's I'm just like obviously kind of playing around. But Billy is going to be doing his own thing. I'm going to be doing my own thing. We just can't make the schedules work, unfortunately. So I just want to get that out of the way. But shout out to Billy. If you guys enjoy his content and stuff like that, make sure you guys check him out at Billy TKO. Whenever we can find time to do stuff together, we will. But moving forward on these afternoon streams, I will be running solo, and I will be engaging in a chat with you guys, my viewers, my friends, because I appreciate you guys all seriously so much. So thank you all to everybody who has been supportive. I really just want to be super consistent with the live streams moving forward, and just kind of shoot the shit, right? And sometimes there's going to be structure, sometimes there won't be, but I think today is an interesting day because AEW did make the announcement, but Fightful actually did it first, which is interesting. So Fightful came out with the breaking news. Tony Khan minutes later posted on Twitter. So let's see if we can do this. Let's see how this works. Because I do want to, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show my screen. Display capture, we got it right here, my friends. And yes, let's move this behind. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's lock that. We're just on the fly, my friends. So here we go. We got it. According to Tony Khan, HBO Max will stream AEW pay-per-views AEW pay-per-view shows live starting very soon. AEW All Out will now be at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time, Saturday afternoon, September 20th, as well as the groundbreaking announcement. All HBO Max subscribers can now purchase AEW pay-per-views at an exclusive low price point of $39.99. So this is the news that Tony Khan dropped today. Tony Khan put it out there, and he's made it official, which I think some people are going to have an interesting take on this. And quite frankly, I could understand why some people would not be too happy with them moving their start time, but I do think most wrestling fans are going to win in this particular situation. So I'm going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. Let's take a look at the chat as well. I want to give some shout outs to everybody watching. So we are live on YouTube. We are live on X. If you guys are watching on YouTube, if you guys could do me the solid favor of clicking like on the stream. We also have our super chat goal active. The super chat goal goes directly to the channel. We put it back in the channel to help grow the channel and fix the channel and make the channel better. And with that, it guarantees that your questions, your comments get read. Of course, I do like to interact with the chat, but when there are super chats, it just gives you the highest priority, as well as members. We have a couple hundred people watching throughout both platforms. So if you guys are also watching on X, if you could just do me that solid favor, yeah, I think this would be the perfect time to maybe retweet this or repost this stream. That would be greatly appreciated. But some shout outs that I want to get through. Shout out to some of our regulars: Bonkers LFC, Chester Franklin, Russell Dominguez, Trey Lusado, Daniel H, Trevon Womack, Kenneth Graham Jr. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Phil, who is a member of the channel. Shout out to Phil. Miss you, Phil. definitely would love to have you on the show again. Sharon Dye, shout out to Sharon. She's in the chat. Darth Baines in the chat. Shout out to all of you guys. Henry Kiernan, thank you guys all for joining. I appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching and tuning in. But yeah, it is true. AEW is officially moving the start time to AEW All Out. Obviously, we just looked at Tony Khan's announcement. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to look at this and be like, oh my God, Tony Khan is scared. Tony Khan is scared. And no, I really genuinely don't believe that to be the case. I genuinely don't believe Tony Khan is scared. I think really what you have to look at is an overall business decision. And no matter what Tony Khan does in this situation, I think Tony Khan is screwed. Because of the fact that if Tony Khan goes head-to-head with WWE and gets annihilated, that's a business move that hurts the business. And if Tony Khan goes and moves the show, you have tons of people going out there and saying, hey, you are scared. You are scared of WWE. You are not confident. You're insecure. Like there's just a lot of things that people will be saying to Tony Khan if he moved the date. So or move the time. And look, this is why it's so hard for people to go up against WWE, because just going up against the machine, they are going to do that. And I think that's just a really, really tough thing. So it is true. Like, we know it is true that they are, like, we've seen it. WWE is not going to put they're not going to stop what they do just to make AEW fans happy, right? Like, WWE is in the business of WWE. That's how they're doing things, and that's how they will continue to do things, and that's why they made the decision. So, yeah, I mean, what a crazy way to go about it. And I'll tell you guys my true, honest feelings in a second. Shout out to David Primero as well. I see you, bro. What a day. What a day, man. If you guys didn't see, I also dropped a video earlier today. And, it's a lot of things happening. I talked about Matt Riddle no-showing. Freaking Matt Riddle. That guy is something else, huh? But Matt Riddle no-showed a charity event. So that was in today's video. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys too as well, if you guys want to watch that after the stream. Maybe you guys missed it. But yeah, I mean, like, Matt Riddle no-show, WWE spoiling shit. There was another big announcement from TKO and WWE. So if you guys want to check that out, that would be great. But yeah, I mean, here's the situation. Tony Khan has officially changed the start time to AEW All Out. Instead of 8 p.m., it's at 3 p.m. Eastern. And they did reveal that HBO Max will have the pay-per-view for $39.99. So there is a discount for HBO Max subscribers, which is cool. But I don't think this is a win-win situation for Tony Khan. No matter what he did, people are going to criticize him. I think people would have looked at Tony Khan and said, dude, you're going head-to-head with WWE, you get annihilated, right? But then you have Tony Khan moving the start time to 3 p.m., and that leads to a conversation where wrestling fans now say Tony Khan is scared, you're insecure, all of those things. So, Tony Khan was put in an impossible situation, but I think this is the best move for wrestling fans. I personally like the idea of them going head-to-head at the same time, and I'm watching on two screens. I understand most people are not me, so I can understand why a lot of people are also thrilled with the idea of them moving the start time to 3 p.m. At the end of the day, I think everybody kind of wins. I think Tony Khan was screwed either way the minute that WrestlePalooza was announced. But now all Tony Khan has to do is just have a really good show, and that's all that's going to matter. Honestly. And I think for me personally as a wrestling fan, I kind of admire the way that this is going on, because what I admire is the fact that Tony Khan, deep down inside, because he was put in such a tricky situation, I admire the fact that Tony Khan realized, I have to do something. And what better way to introduce the HBO Max discount? Because that's another thing that I don't think people often talk about. But the discount, like, you could watch the AEW pay-per-view elsewhere, but you're going to pay full price. If you have HBO Max, you're going to pay for the pay-per-view. Now, the only thing that AEW needs to worry about here is making sure, because this part is important, Tony Khan really needs to make sure that HBO Max doesn't have any technical difficulties. Like, that's the one thing that matters here, is you cannot have technical difficulties, but this is the first pay-per-view. Because this weekend, as long as AEW has a good pay-per-view and they make their fans happy, and if WWE makes their fans happy, then essentially everybody wins. But if Tony Khan is now in a situation, because this is possible, if Tony Khan is now in a situation where they have technical difficulties and it becomes a major talking point, it is not going to look good. And again, this is all about like the perception war thing, you know? And that's kind of what it is. Trevon Womack says in the chat, Ango, my thing I hate is the hypocrisy. People don't mind paying $39 for an AEW pay-per-view, but got upset about paying $30 for a WWE PLE. Yeah, I mean, I think hypocrisy runs wild in the IWC, but we've come to learn that and accept that. I think a lot of people, I mean, we were talking about it yesterday in the stream, is a lot of people don't really actually have their own beliefs or opinions. They just kind of follow the trends of whatever makes them feel popular. The example that I gave yesterday was, the example that I gave yesterday was literally, wrestling fans are kind of like, not all wrestling fans, because that's too generalized, but there's a plethora of wrestling fans who are like, I don't even want to talk about that. It's just too deep. You know what I mean? It got deep, and I don't want to, But yeah, I think there is a lot of hypocrisy, and I think there's a lot of people who definitely look at wrestling, and I think there's a lot of people who look at wrestling as a way to like fit in, and that's where their opinions come from. And I'll kind of leave it at that. I think that's a good way to say it. Is like they use it as like, maybe they didn't fit in elsewhere, but they fit in with wrestling. They like to gatekeep things. And so what they do is they say things to join this community and to fit in with the community, to be valued by other people and stuff. And I think that's where you see the lack of authenticity within people. And that's why you can't really take too much for that. Phil dropped. Phil has become a member for 13 months. Shout out to Phil. We met. He says, could AEW do this more if WWE does shows the same day? Yes, I think this will be the norm for AEW. I think the real question here, though, and this is one of the things that I'm actually very curious about, September 20th is about 3 weeks away. So now the real question to me becomes, does NXT or AAA have some sort of pay-per-view on that day earlier in the day? Like, is it a possibility maybe at 3 p.m. where NXT does a pay-per-view or AAA does a pay-per-view? Is there a possibility that WWE will use their other platforms or their other brands to counter-program? Is there a situation in which WWE says, hey, at 3 p.m. we're doing an NXT pay-per-view? And this will be the norm. I do not foresee this changing at all. I think for the next year and a half, 2 years, I see this being a big thing where I genuinely believe that WWE will continue to counter-program AEW. Now, I want to address something. Sandy in the chat says it shows that WWE is scared. It doesn't. This is not about WWE being scared. This is about WWE being smart business people. Honestly, this is not about being scared. WWE cannot do anything to eliminate AEW. Let's just be perfectly clear on that. I said this yesterday. I've said this numerous times. WWE cannot clear out AEW. Tony Khan has money. Tony Khan has all this stuff. What WWE is trying to do is scare off any other potential billionaire trying to get involved in wrestling so they could leech off the success of WWE and AEW. You know what I mean? So no, WWE isn't scared. WWE has to accept that Tony Khan's a billionaire. He's going to be doing this forever. I mean, Tony Khan is going to do this for as long as he wants. He's not. AEW is not this most insanely profitable thing. And by the way, because I know somebody's going to get offended out there, Tony Khan has even admitted that he's not even sure about the profitability of AEW yet. Like, in his own words, he's already talking about that. There's a lot of wrestling fans who want to talk about AEW's popularity and their profit, but even Tony Khan knows deep down inside it's not where it's supposed to be, and that's why he talks about it publicly. I've actually grown to respect Tony Khan way more in the past year than I have ever respected him as a leader, because I think Tony Khan for a long time was playing on ultra defense, meaning he got very defensive with everything WWE did. Now Tony Khan is a fucking smart guy because he's like, hey, listen, he's like, I'm not going to run my mouth like I was before. He has gotten way, 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 way better at responding to stuff. So anybody who thinks WWE is scared, I promise you they're not. WWE knows this. They can't be scared of AEW. The reason why they can't be scared of AEW, let me explain this so everybody's aware. WWE can't be scared of AEW because AEW is not showing any physical traction to actually damaging WWE. But the thing about WWE and AEW is WWE needs to prevent other companies from doing this. So if I was a billionaire and I want to start a wrestling company like Tony Khan, because I could see that there's money in TV deals and stuff, if I was a billionaire and I was thinking about getting involved, and I see how WWE handles AEW, then I'm already screwed. If WWE does this to the second biggest one and I'm a billionaire trying to get in, I'm fucked. So they're not scared of AEW. They are limiting AEW's growth. They're stunting AEW's growth, which, by the way, I don't know why anybody ever gets offended by this. That's what competition does. For fucking years, people wanted competition. You're getting competition. And the best part about it, me and Billy were talking about it yesterday. Look how good wrestling is right now. Every year in September, August and September, I fucking hate wrestling, bro. Because it's like we hit that slow period. Right now, WWE and AEW are doing some good shit. So my personal opinion is that WWE, yeah, they are going to diminish AEW every chance they get. That's going to happen. That is going to happen regardless. But that's what business does. Roger Flores says they are scared. They are pulling this to overshadow AEW. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. That is the point. You do that to business. Like, they're not supposed to be friends. What were you thinking? WWE was going to go in and be like, AEW, we want you to be just as rich as us. Let's promote your show. Have some common sense when you guys talk about these topics, please. Please, please, please. Because the more that you have common sense and you seem to understand it, the more you actually fucking enjoy it. Like, I genuinely believe, like I've been saying this the other day. I said it yesterday on the live stream, but like going on Twitter to see a whole bunch of people fucking fake outrage over absolutely everything in this world will make you fucking lose your mind. So better to just enjoy what you enjoy and honestly, shut the hell up. Like straight up. Straight up, enjoy what you enjoy. AEW changing their start time. Oh my God, Tony Khan is screwed. Tony Khan's being a bitch. He's being a pussy. He doesn't know what he's doing. I see people saying this shit because they moved their start time already. The news has been out for 20 minutes and people are already calling Tony Khan a bitch because he changed the time. But deep down inside, as a wrestling fan, some people are, I would say more people are unlike me than anything. Honest to God, I would say more people are unlike me. Because I don't mind having two screens on at once. During NBA basketball season, I literally have the Pistons game on one screen while I'm watching Raw, while I'm watching NXT, Dynamite, Smackdown. That's just how it is. I'd use two screens sometimes to watch shows. So as a wrestling fan, I don't mind AEW and WWE being on the same time, everything. But I think there's a lot of people right now who are so upset about this and they're actually forgetting to enjoy it. And actually, what I will say is this. I'm starting to get under the belief that a lot of people who actually join the wrestling community on social media, I actually have a feeling a lot of people don't even really watch anymore. Because I'm starting to see some popular Twitter accounts tweeting about stuff, and then they're literally getting exposed in other tweets saying, I don't know, I haven't really been watching. So it's like, how can people have such a strong opinion on something if you're not actually watching or doing anything? You know? And I know this is probably the sad part about it all, but there's a lot of people who have misconceptions about me and they've never watched one piece of content in my life. They might have seen a couple tweets, but they don't even know what I think. So the fact that everybody is so hell-bent on having such a strong opinion without seeking context or without knowing anything, it doesn't do anything beneficial to anybody. To be honest, it's a miserable way to live. And more than that, I think it's a sad thing. I think it's a sad thing to see that people genuinely like, man, it's just the way it is. Like, Roger, I don't know. You're in the chat, my boy, and I see you, and you keep saying, oh, they're afraid of this, they're afraid of that, they're afraid of this. Man, watch your show and shut up. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. You are getting two great products right now. Two companies are competing. I don't know, man. Somebody said it the other day in the chat. They're like a whole bunch of people who only won participation trophies that growing up are the ones who really hate the competition between it. Competition breeds great results, dude. I think AEW changing the start out time, for me, I'm only bothered by it because of the fact that I don't mind watching 2 screens at once. But is it a smart move? Sure. It's what I said yesterday. Tony Khan was screwed either way. It was a lose-lose situation, no matter how Tony Khan goes about it. No matter what Tony Khan did, yeah. It's like Tony Khan not going head-to-head doesn't make Tony Khan look weak. I'm just being honest. It does not make him look weak. It does not make Tony Khan look weak. Hoot Gibson says this dude is so biased, and that's fine. Except he covered AEW like it was God until, I click on this shit. But Ango is a bona fide dick rider. Man, I think you're just mad. And that's okay, dude. I think you're just mad. You are calling me biased, but you can't even tell me what I said that was anti any company. And when you could do that, when you could be a man and do that, you let me know. You could do that. I don't know why you would be this frustrated over wrestling. I mean, I think that's a problem for you, and I hope you sincerely take care of that because wrestling is not that deep. In fact, wrestling is much funner. I think a lot of people forget how fucking shit wrestling was before AEW came around. Even when I thought AEW was at its best or when I think it's at its worst, I think you guys forget how fucking garbage wrestling was. Wrestling was so fucking garbage to the point where I was literally fucking tired of watching that shit, where I was like, I'm not even going to do YouTube anymore. That's how bad wrestling got before AEW came around. It was a fucking drag to watch it, which is sad. Vince McMahon literally was killing the thing that everybody loved. If Tony Khan didn't come around, it was very difficult. And I don't care what the other nerds say. Oh, there's New Japan, there's CMLL, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. Like, bro wants me to be a fucking time traveler and be able to stay up 24/7 just to watch a whole bunch of wrestling, dude. Nah. Dead ass, bro. Wrestling was pretty freaking garbage before AEW came around. AEW coming around, Triple H coming around, changed the wrestling industry forever. It was the best thing that ever happened to professional wrestling. No matter how shitty sometimes Tony Khan's booking could be, I put Tony Khan light years ahead of Vince McMahon. Triple H and Tony Khan will always be better than Vince McMahon booking. I've said this a million times. I don't care what any other wrestling YouTuber says. I don't care what other journalist says. I don't care what any other fan says. I've been through it. I've been there. I've done it. People get so pissed especially when I say like the Attitude Era sucked. Go back and watch it. Shit was ass. Wrestling was going downhill. It had its moments. But from a week-to-week episodic show, I could promise you guys right now, and these are things I've been telling you since 2019. Nothing's changed. So even when I'm critical of AEW or WWE today, just understand it's way better than we've ever had. This is the best time to be a wrestling fan, which is probably why I like the idea of going split screen. It's probably the reason why I enjoy watching both. You know? But a lot of people say, oh, how do you hate the Attitude Era? It was the greatest thing. Tell me one thing that was better than the main event scene. The mid-card was ass. Every match ended in a DQ or a count-out or a funky-ass finish, so this way they could get people to watch the pay-per-view and buy the pay-per-view. Vince McMahon was in the pay-per-view business, so he knew exactly what he was doing. You want the payoff, you have to watch the pay-per-view. The mid-card was terrible. They didn't really build stars the way that you would have hoped. The Attitude Era was not that great. I think it's like a lot of the comedy that it had on there was pretty garbage. I think aside from Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, I think a lot of the shit in the Attitude Era was a joke, honestly. I really think the Attitude Era was always pretty shit. I think the Ruthless Aggression Era was probably one of my favorites, to be honest. When you go back, like historically speaking. I was always a WCW fan more than WWE. It's just the way it was. Shout out to Tavon Harvey for becoming a pro member. Shout out to Tavon. Thank you for your membership, brother. I appreciate you guys. Which, by the way, if you're not a member, please consider becoming a member. It definitely helps out the channel. It's definitely appreciated, especially with these live streams happening on a daily basis. We're going to be talking and shooting the shit. This is unscripted. This is unfiltered. Either you're going to agree, you're going to disagree, but the real truth is you're always going to get the real Ango. That's how it's been for like 15 years. That's how it's going to be for the next 50. So just keep that in mind. Shout out to everybody who's real. Shout out to everybody who comes in here and truly enjoys being part of the community. I appreciate you guys. Les Phillips dropped a $4.99 super chat. Your thoughts on WWE putting AAA when Worlds collide on at the same time as SmackDown? Is that the case? Worlds collide, AAA is at the same time as SmackDown? Let me Google that. September 12th. All right, hold on. It's September 12th, Las Vegas. But it's at 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so it's after SmackDown. Oh, actually, no, because SmackDown... Yeah. That's interesting. I didn't even realize that, I swear. That is a very interesting situation for them. I'm curious how that's going to benefit them. But I love the Worlds Collide shows, man. I love the AAA stuff that they're doing, to be honest. I think it's really dope. Les Phillips, shout out to you for the super chat. Yeah, I think that's an interesting situation. I think really what's going to end up happening is they'll probably push some viewership to Worlds Collide. There's probably a strategy behind that to advertise the show during SmackDown, which I could see that happening. I could see WWE doing that. But 10 p.m. Eastern time is when that airs, so yeah. Tavon Harvey says, I've been watching pro wrestling since the 80s. WWE is miles ahead of the rock and wrestling era. AEW came at a perfect time, but WWE has turned on the afterburners once competition stepped up. And really, that's what you want, right? I mean, when you think about WWE, complacency is a bitch. Like there is a lot of truth to that. I think complacency is absolutely a bitch. So I think WWE got complacent at times, and then AEW really was. I mean, we needed AEW. As a TNA lifelong fan, especially at that time, I thought TNA was putting out. Well, at the time it was Impact. I thought Impact was putting on some good content, but Impact, from an office perspective, was not really doing that well. I think there was a lot of things there that, genuinely speaking, I felt like they kind of. I think they kind of just didn't have any momentum. So I think deep down inside, when I look at that time period, it's like AEW was the heavy hitter with the money. You know, the production team left TNA to come to AEW. They had a very solid roster to start. They did the bigger venues. I mean, I was literally at their first ever show. I've been to several of their shows. The energy was different. We just needed something fresh. It's, you guys ever watch paint dry on a wall? That's what it was like watching WWE for a while. I remember even specifically, do you guys remember when Elijah was doing the storylines, Elias, Ezekiel? I remember specifically a live stream that I did where I was like, this was the only thing that I enjoyed. And people were like, how can you enjoy that? It's so garbage. I was like, I don't know. I just enjoy it. But everything else just kind of sucked. You know what I mean? I remember those days. Those days sucked. As a content creator, they sucked. As a content creator, like as a fan of wrestling and being a content creator, it kind of sucked. So, yeah, not good times. Let's keep looking at the chat. Shout out to Les Phillips, by the way, for that super chat. There was another super chat that came in from Richard Cohn for $2. He says, hey, Ango, WWE is better than AEW. Tony Khan sucks. Man, listen, I do think WWE is the better product than AEW. I'm not going to hide that. I haven't hid that in a while. I think AEW right now should be given credit, though. I really do feel like WWE is doing good. I think AEW is doing good. I think TNA is doing good. I think when you look at the resurgence of Lucha Libre in America, there's a lot more interest now in Lucha Libre. I think you have to credit Tony Khan for that, because of the CMLL stuff with their partnership. And then I think you have to also take into account the WWE buying AAA. I think Lucha Libre is becoming a bigger thing in America, which is cool. I'm glad to see that Lucha Libre stars are being highlighted. So I think deep down inside, man, I think it's to sit here and say Tony Khan sucks. I think Tony Khan has shown a lot of times where maybe he wasn't the best booker. I think Tony Khan showed a lot of weakness throughout the years. I think, this is the first time where AEW feels a lot better of a product. I feel, one of the things that I was talking about with Hangman Page versus the Death Riders. Hey, if they don't capitalize and give it to Hangman Page, we're fucked. Like the first half of 2025 for AEW was garbage to me. But then you could tell after All In, it was like starting to click again, which is good. That's what you need. Tony Khan's taking more control. If you personally think Tony Khan sucks, I mean, that's your own opinion. I'm not gonna fight with you about it. But I don't think Tony Khan should get as much criticism as he does. The one thing I don't see people doing, and I will toot my own horn here. I don't see a lot of people actually doing this, but anything I've ever criticized Tony Khan for in the first 6 years of them being in business, I have always stood here and been like, damn, I'm appreciative of the change. I don't see other people doing that. And I genuinely notice those things. So I do credit myself to be like one of those content creators being like, hey, I used to criticize this, but look at the change they've made. I do that quite often. And the same thing happens with WWE and the same thing, but I think it takes a real analyst or a real person who's truly actually non-biased to do that. I'm not following the trends. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think if you look at AEW today, in the first half of 2025, I was very, very hell-bent on like, dude, they have a few good things, but the big stuff overshadows it and it's bad. Now you keep watching and watching and watching, and it's like the big things are good and some of the little things are bad. It just kind of reverses, but it's much better. So I'm always going to appreciate that, man. That's how I am as a content creator, as a fan, as a human being. I'm gonna like what I like, and I'm gonna enjoy what I enjoy, and that's just kind of the way it goes. So, shout out to Richard Cohn for the $2 super chat. We're almost there to the super chat goal. If you guys want to help contribute to the show, I appreciate it. Sandy says, you said yourself you prefer WWE. Yeah, well, I mean, I prefer fucking pineapple on pizza, and you probably don't. So, what's the big deal? That doesn't mean anything. Like, what are we sitting here talking about? Are you that offended? Please, are we that offended? Are you that offended that somebody prefers something else other than the other thing? Because we can go, we're live right now. We can go back and watch my old live streams together for fucking 2,000 hours. And we can go back and watch. We're like, holy shit, AEW's the fucking best, bro. WWE's ass. Like, what are we doing here, bro? What are we doing here? When the fuck are people not allowed to have personal preference to anything? This is the fucking thing that is so crazy to me. When did we get to that point where people do this? Like what you like, but pretend you ain't biased. What is there to be biased about? Prove it. Prove it. Make those comments, prove it. I don't have to defend myself. You have to prove yourself. Just remember that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's keep it going. Let's keep interacting, my friends. Roger Flores dropping a $4.99. I read an article where WWE wants wrestlers from AAA to learn English, move more WWE stars to AAA. What are your thoughts? Dude, I think that's an interesting point, bro. I think that's interesting. Wanting wrestlers from AAA to learn English, I think, is an interesting subject matter because I could be wrong. I don't know like the physical stats, but I do think English is probably the most spoken language in the world. And I could probably just Google that really quick. What's the most spoken language in the world today? And I'm asking ChatGPT because the most spoken language in the world by the number of total speakers is English, while Mandarin Chinese is the most spoken by the number of native speakers. English has the largest global reach with the most total speakers, including both native and second language. So listen, from that perspective, it would probably make sense if you would want them to learn English, right? But I also think that would be because WWE would want them to move up through NXT or the main roster at some point, right? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I've never heard that. As far as move more WWE stars to AAA, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think you should, right? I think if you look at WWE right now as a company, this is a very big thing too. If you look at WWE as a company, They have a huge roster, and not everybody could get utilized, and not everybody could be a star. So why not move some talent sometimes to AAA? Let them have a run in AAA. Like, I would be using Omos in AAA all the time. I would be using a plethora of talent. Like Dragon Lee right now is it kind of looks like he might be getting a push to a certain extent because they are utilizing him a lot more on TV now, which is great. But for a while, they weren't doing shit with Dragon Lee. So, like, if they don't have plans for Dragon Lee, use him in AAA. Let him be the face of AAA until it's time to bring him back on the main roster, you know? So my opinion is, like, I'm okay with them using the talent. As far as them learning English, I mean, I guess it would make a lot of sense since we just looked it up. It's the most spoken language in the world. But you have to modernize things a little bit, right? So I think WWE doing this with AAA just makes a lot of sense. But you can't strip AAA from AAA. You know, that's my big thing. So shout out to Roger Flores for the super chat. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Richard Cohn coming through with another super chat for $2. Tony Khan, he got to stop writing his own shows. No, actually, I'll disagree. I think Tony Khan should be the writer of his own shows. I think that's one of the biggest changes that I've noticed is that Tony Khan has actually gotten a lot better because of their shows. So I think that's a big thing, right? Like, I think if you look at the more that Tony Khan is actually, the more that he's actually doing things on the show, like taking control of the booking and stuff, I think it's better. I think when he has a lot of people, I think the point that, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think the more that Tony Khan is involved, the better it is. Where Tony Khan has too many people in a room, too many people trying to, because you hear stories of like FTR and the Hurt Syndicate and all that stuff, and the Hurt Syndicate didn't want to drop the belts to them and blah, blah, blah. They didn't want to drop the belts to veterans or whatever. Like, you hear stories of that, and it's like, no, Tony Khan is the fucking boss. Tony Khan, you need to make those decisions, and your talent need to, because you pay your talent, you need to be a boss and tell your talent, listen, this is the decision we're making, take it or leave it, But I think the more that Tony Khan is actually involved, I think the better it is. I think the more that Tony Khan has other people in his ear, I think that's the problem. And I've actually talked about this for years. Tony Khan's biggest issue is he's trying to be a people pleaser. I think it's very evident when you hear of these reports and these things where it's like Tony Khan is just trying to be a good boss and try to make people happy. Sometimes trying to make other people happy is detrimental to your own product and your own company. I think the less that Tony Khan does that, the better it is for Tony Khan. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. Shout out to Richard Cohn for the $2 super chat. David Primero dropping $1.99. Do you think Lola will dethrone JC at NXT No Mercy? I mean, I think anything is possible, but what I would say too is, like, I would say right now, if you look at WWE and AEW and TNA, right now the big thing is there's a lot of big events coming up, right? Bound for Glory is coming up. You have AEW All Out, WWE WrestlePalooza. No Mercy. I mean, I think WWE is going to put another pay-per-view to go up against All Out, to be honest. And if I was NXT and I'm counter-programming AEW All Out, if that's the case, if that's what we're going to see, then I think we are in a situation where that's where the title change should happen. Because if NXT is going to have a pay-per-view come up and they're going to go against AEW All Out at 3 p.m., if that's going to happen for NXT, then I think you do a title change there. So that could be a talking point. Because let's be real, AEW All Out will beat an NXT pay-per-view, but you need people to talk about your NXT pay-per-view. So what can you do to shock the world? Shout out to David Primero for the super chat. Phil in the chat says, hey, Ango, what are your thoughts on the $40 price tag with it being on Max? I think that's a huge win for consumers. If you already pay for HBO Max, you have the ability to get a pay-per-view for $40 instead of $50. I think that's great. I really, I think that that's a beautiful benefit. It's the same price because you got to pay for HBO Max. It's the same price, but you at least get the discount for doing it on there. So it's the same amount of money. Let's use our heads, everybody. $50 on Prime, $40 on HBO Max. You have to pay money to use Amazon Prime. You have to pay money to use HBO Max. So that's where we are with it. So, yeah, I see a lot of people in the chat saying the pay-per-views need to be free on Max, period. Yeah, I mean, I think you can make that argument, but for them to do that, they need to have a new contract written up. They need to have some sort of deal written up. Honestly, like that's the only way it's going to really happen is they need to do something where some sort of deal it needs to be in place for them to go free pay-per-views. They're not going to do it, bro. They do 100 to 150,000 buys. You know, that's not bad. I don't know what their distribution rates are with Prime and Triller and this company and payperview.com and this company and that company. But, you know, in order to do free pay-per-views, there has to be a rhyme or reason for it. I think they should do it. It would be fun. Obviously, as a consumer, it would be better. But I don't foresee them doing that change unless pay-per-view buys really drop dramatically. So, and yeah, I think Phil kind of mentioned, he said WWE spoiled a lot of fans, you know, with the WWE network. They did. They definitely did that, man. That's true. WWE spoiled everybody. It changed the landscape of all streaming. Because now if you look, which this is the crazy part, but now if you look at streaming, like there's all these other companies started subscription sports streaming passes and shit. So WWE really was the foundational change. They were really the foundational change for that. And I think that's huge, man. I think WWE really changed the game with the WWE network. And I think we got spoiled with it. And I mean, like I said, for me, I don't have to pay anything for ESPN pay-per-views. I get it for free with my cable service. So I'm happy about that. You know, for AEW pay-per-views, I got to continue to pay for. Obviously, there's a difference there. But until dramatically their business changes, you know, until it dramatically changes, I don't think we will. Until their pay-per-view buys dramatically change, I don't think they're going to do that. I think Tony Khan and AEW will continue to charge for pay-per-views. It has to make sense business-wise, bro. It has to make sense business-wise. And the only way it's going to make sense business-wise is if the pay-per-view buys drop and HBO is willing to spend the money. I don't know if they're willing to spend the money, I swear. That's a very difficult thing to guess. We don't know what their situation is like behind closed doors, but I would like to think that maybe someday it will happen. But right now, why would you change it if it's not broken? Like, if you see that their pay-per-views are selling and people are buying the pay-per-views, why would you change it? Tony, you know, you wouldn't change it. You're making money from it. They're still in the pay-per-view business. But yes, we are spoiled. WWE spoiled us. I'm still spoiled. I don't have to pay for these pay-per-views, bro. I got the ESPN DTC app. I'm not tripping about anything. Like, I'm super geeked for WrestlePalooza. You know. So that's a pretty big deal, bro. I swear, I'm be honest, that's a pretty big deal. I look forward to seeing what that looks like in a year or two from now. I think by the next TV deal, HBO pay-per-view is free. It can make sense, but like, let's see what happens with TNA too. Like, TNA, are they going to be on Peacock? Are their pay-per-views going to be free? Like, what do they do? There's a lot of things that are interesting about the pieces to the puzzle. So I'm curious, but I don't foresee AEW making that change just yet. Their pay-per-view buys are good. No, my mom doesn't pay for the package, actually. I thought that was really funny you said that. So my mom doesn't pay for the package because what actually ends up happening, I know this is crazy, but in America, my cell phone provider offers 3 different streaming services for free as being part of your unlimited plan. My cable and internet service is connected and is one of the free providers that give you ESPN direct to consumer. So I don't pay additional because I didn't cut the cord. I didn't cut the cord from cable, but I also worked in the TV business. A lot of people didn't know that before I went full time. I worked in the TV business. So I knew that streaming was going to be more expensive. Cable is still cheaper. So yeah, I don't pay for any of those streaming services. I have Netflix, I have Hulu. My cable service provides the ESPN DTC for free. So I don't pay for that shit. I just pay for my cable bill and my cell phone bill. Now, I need to pay for my cable and internet bill because I literally work, right? So, and I watch TV. So like that's just how it is. Yeah. I think it's a good thing. Personally, I think it's a good thing that I have it for free. And actually almost every person I've been talking to pretty much is in the same boat as me. But if you cut the cord, for example, because you thought streaming would be cheaper, you guys should have subscribed to me a long time ago because I told you don't do it. I told y'all fucking like 7 years ago on this channel, don't cut the cord. It's not going to be cheaper. This is just a way of them controlling what you watch. So NXT will remain on Peacock. I have Peacock for free. You know. Shout out to David Primero for that last super chat, by the way. Trevon said, what did Trevon say? I saw this. He goes, hey, Ango, would we ever see a joint pay-per-view between NXT, TNA, Noah, and AAA? Yeah, I'm pretty sure by next year we'll see them counter-program AEW with something like that. Don't get it twisted, bro. These counter-programmings are going to happen. They're going to continue happening. They're going to continue being a thing. I'm fully expecting it. I'm fully expecting it, bro. I'm fully expecting more counter programmings. I wouldn't even be shocked right now. Honestly, I would not even be shocked if WWE announces a pay-per-view for against All Out. It sounds crazy, but it's not crazy to me. I can see WWE doing it. And just like that, we're also getting a new TikTok uploaded. So that's why I'm on my phone for a second. Excuse me. Kind of want to go get a water. Would you guys be cool if I went to go grab a water really quick? Would that be okay with you guys? I'll be right back. All right, we're back. What up, y'all? Let's see. Did I miss anything? That's what I want to double check. Did I miss anything? Chat, get me up to speed. What am I missing? I thought your phone wallpaper was Tony Khan. No, man. No. No, that was just me uploading my TikTok. You know, I'd be doing that. So. No, man. I chugged a water bottle and grabbed another one. I think Steve Paulus just dropped a gem in the chat. He says, a fan of wrestling for 51 years. I just enjoy wrestling, not companies. Yeah. I think that's very fair. I don't know, man. I don't really understand. I probably will never understand. But when you look at WWE and AEW, there's just a lot of good stuff happening these days, to be honest. Darth Bane just dropped a $4.99 super chat. Wish WWE and AEW would get over themselves and work together and give us a dream PLE, even if it's a one and done deal. I just don't think the TV partners would want it, bro. Honest to God. Like, I don't see TV partners wanting that because at the end of the day, like, ESPN is now in competition with AEW. You know? ESPN's in competition with Warner. They're all in competition with each other. So I just feel like there's too many moving pieces. But listen, what I will say, though, is that, like, Darth, you know this, bro. How many times have I talked about I would love a Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega match? I feel like you were there in the stream when I talked about it before, saying, dude, I would love for Roman Reigns to leave AEW or to leave WWE and go to AEW. Just for the simple fact, I would love to see how they would... What a botch. Just to see how they would promote him and how they would advertise him and how they would do all those things. You know? Yeah, ESPN is owned by Disney. That is true, yeah. But I think WWE and AEW, man, if they did a dream card, it would be amazing. You could easily put 100,000 in a stadium for that. You know what I mean? There's a couple more details for HBO Max, by the way, so let's share these. HBO Max will stream pay-per-view without ads. Only current Max subscribers in the U.S. will get the pay-per-view at $39.99. Pay-per-view replays will be exclusively available for 6 months for purchasers. Pre-orders will start on Friday, September 5th. Once you purchase the pay-per-view, you could find the show under My Purchases via the My Stuff page on the HBO Max menu. So that's cool. HBO Max will stream live AEW pay-per-views without ads, with all marketing and promotions of AEW pay-per-views primarily centered on HBO Max. Pre-orders for AEW All Out on HBO Max will launch this Friday, allowing U.S. HBO Max subscribers $39.99. Fans streaming AEW All Out on HBO Max can enjoy this event in HDR10 and Dolby Atmos. Wow, that's cool. I like that. For my tech nerds out there, that just means very, very high quality. That's going to be some very high quality stuff. I think that's cool, man. I think that the rollout for HBO Max is cool. Going back to what we were saying, I know Phil kind of mentioned in the chat too, but I do think it is relatively awesome to see that we were spoiled. You know what I mean? We were definitely spoiled. We were definitely spoiled for a while with the WWE network. So shout out to Darth Bane for that super chat. One thing I will say about a dream pay-per-view card, bro. If WWE and AEW ever does it, I think a lot of fans, a lot of the AEW sickos who hate WWE are going to be foaming out of the mouth. And that will be a funny day. That would be a very funny day. But in order for that to happen, AEW needs to have some massive draws. And I don't think AEW does right now. You know. That's just the reality. It would be nice if one day that happens, but I don't think so. Shout out to Darth Bane for that super chat. If anybody else has a super chat you want to get in, go ahead and drop it. It's greatly appreciated. Or consider becoming a member. Let's see. Is my yes, Nightbot is working. Let's go, Nightbot. Everybody, let's give it a round of applause for Nightbot. Woo, Nightbot. Good job, Nightbot. You're working. Hardest working mod next to Mike. How nice, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode of the Ango Show, brought to you by... I gotta work on that. All right, guys, it's your boy Ango. Yeah. Crazy. Shout out to Nightbot, though, for real. Dude, what a great day for professional wrestling. I don't know, I'm excited, man. And then you know, we got Dynamite tonight. We'll see what they got cooking. So we'll see what they we'll see what they got cooking. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't know what to make of Dynamite tonight. It should be good, hopefully. I think Dynamite's in a tricky situation, though, because I think Dynamite, if I could be honest, I think Dynamite is middle of the week. Obviously, it kind of hurts them. Middle of the week, whatever they do big today will be overshadowed by AJ Lee on Friday. So I just hope they come out swinging with a good episode. Darth Bane in the chat says, I wonder when or if WWE does a draft. Dude, you and me both. I'm curious. I don't know. I really don't know. They said it was originally going to be in September, bro. We haven't seen that happen yet. So we haven't seen an announcement yet. I think they're going to call up the announcement soon. But if it's going to be on ESPN, because I'm hearing ESPN is going to do the special draft and Stephen A. Smith and all those guys are going to be involved in it. We'll see. The draft is important, bro. The draft is really important. Let's go. Keep firing off, chat. We're going to be reading it. Let's go. Let's see what's happening. Takeshita versus Okada. Take my money. Kanasuke Takeshita should be AEW World Champion. Did Private Party's contract get time added? Not that I know of. And I do think they are bound for WWE whenever that time happens. WrestleTix just posted an update for Friday Night Smackdown, September 5th, 2025. It's in Illinois, right? It's in Chicago. They are almost at 16,000 tickets sold. Bro, what the fuck is going on? That AJ Lee tease / spoil definitely changed things for Friday, so that's interesting. Darth Bane wants to know, who do you think is going to dethrone Obafemi? Chat, I want to know what you guys think. I think for me, it's got to be Ricky Starks, or Obafemi just vacates the belt and goes up to the main roster. Lapdog made a really good point. He goes, Ango, you never discussed the switch and start time for All Out, how it might affect fans who bought tickets already. I mean, it does. It definitely affects those fans. That sucks. I feel like moving forward, all fans should know that they should expect this from AEW moving forward, to be honest. East Coast says, all these crying IWC, I think is what you mean. All these IWC snowflakes wouldn't be able to handle the 90s with counter-programming Monday Night Wars. I remember paying $30 for WCW and WWF pay-per-view in the 90s. These crybabies are weak. Yeah. I didn't buy WWF pay-per-views back in the day. Actually, I didn't watch WCW pay-per-views either. I grew up on the internet era, baby. You had to go on the message boards to find out what happened, and then tune in the next night to see the video packages for the recap. Shout out to In Digital Films, $6.99 Canadian dollars. AEW must be bold. They need a fresh babyface leader. Build Cross strong and fast, or risk another mischance like Okada, Ospreay, and Black. I'm curious if they'll bring in Karrion Kross. I don't know. I mean, yesterday we were talking about the Righteous are coming to WWE. We know the Righteous have been heavily aligned with Karrion Kross, so maybe there's an opportunity there. But I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make of it, I swear. I think deep down inside, they do need a fresh babyface right now. I think with Will Ospreay being out, I think that's a difficult thing. Will Ospreay and... yeah. You got to do something with those guys stepping out. AEW has always kind of had that issue, by the way, with the babyface thing. I feel like I've talked about that a lot. But if you look at AEW and having that, like, me and Billy got into a heated discussion one time on the live stream because I said AEW didn't have that babyface that WWE has. Like, it's very obvious WWE has it. You know, TNA had it with Joe Hendry as well. AEW, I don't think they... I think they had it with Will Ospreay, but I don't think they treated him like he was their John Cena. But I will say that doesn't matter now because after this injury angle and once he comes back, once Will Ospreay comes back, I think he becomes their guy. For sure. Which is a good thing. But yeah, for a couple years now, I don't feel like they've had that clear, concise top babyface holding it down for the company. I think that's a pretty fair analysis. Is Adam Page a babyface? I consider him a babyface. He's a babyface, but he's not a white meat babyface. Right? That's a term I think people use. White meat. Like Cody. Cody Rhodes is like a white meat babyface. But I think Hangman Page, I mean, I've said this before on the live stream. There's a lot of things on a personal level I just don't agree with Hangman Page. There's certain things he would tweet about back then that were just like really ridiculous. I was like, ugh. But from a wrestling standpoint, I very much enjoy watching his character. I think he's great. You could say he's the main character of AEW. That's fair. But they don't have that white meat babyface like Cody Rhodes in WWE. He doesn't wave the company flag the same way, you know. Shout out to In Digital Films, by the way, for that super chat. And yes, I definitely agree with you. They do have to be bold. But they're doing pretty good this year, man. They're doing pretty good this year. I think they've been doing a lot of cool stuff lately. I love this version of Athena. She's been able to be who she wants to be. Athena is great. I don't know why they don't put the World Championship on her and put her on Dynamite. I don't know why she's I don't know why they're kind of dragging their feet with her, with Ring of Honor. Marcus Gurley says, does AEW have any white meat baby faces aside from Dustin? I honestly don't think so. Shout out to my boy Joshua Gresham on Twitter. I just saw something very interesting. So this is another perspective. He says Max Premium, no ads, is $20 a month. So that is $240 for the year. And then there's $40 for pay-per-views. So $40 for pay-per-views. They do what? 9 of them a year? That's $360. You're spending $600 a year just to watch AEW pay-per-views. So that's interesting. I feel like with that, I just retweeted that, by the way. It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to watch AEW. How much are we paying to watch WWE PLEs? I'm paying $0. My cable and TV providers cover it all. TV, internet, cell phone bill, they all cover my streaming services. So I don't pay anything. I got all the apps for free through my cell phone and cable providers. So that's why I benefit. You won't hear me complain about it. And that's okay. Some people will say that, like, people will be like, "Oh, I gotta pay for it." Well, yeah, then you gotta pay for it. Yeah, I'm paying for cable. No shit, Sherlock. Are you that fucking stupid? Obviously. No shit. I gotta pay for it, of course. But guess what? I don't gotta pay for those fucking pay-per-views being $50. So I'm straight chilling. No, it is free because I'm not paying for the pay-per-views. I'm paying for the cable and TV and internet, which then gives me those additional services for free, which means I don't have to pay for those additional services. If I don't have to pay for those additional services, I don't have to pay for the product. You can't be that dumb. I know, man, boycotted Activision. You come here every fucking day showing your face because you're just mad, bro. Everything's fucking biased, this, anti this, blah, 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 blah. You miserable, bro. My cable bill ain't $300. If you guys are paying $300 for a cable bill, you're a fucking idiot. Come on now. It's not that hard to get a cheap cable bill. It's not that hard to get a cheap cell phone bill. Come on now. Let's not be dumb. If I was paying $300 for a cable bill, why would I do that? I might as well just pay for $30 ESPN and this and that and blah, 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 blah. A la carte viewing has never been cheaper than cable. TV and internet's like $110. Like, I've already done the math. If I got all the other stuff, I'd be paying more. Everybody knew a la carte viewing would be devastating. Everybody knew it. They tricked you because there's no contracts. If there's no contracts, you can leave any time. That's how they tricked you. Come on now. They knew exactly what they were doing. Justin Kennington says, Ango, question. If you have the ESPN Unlimited Hulu and Disney bundle, will I get WrestlePalooza or do I need to get the premium bundle? Justin, these are things that I've addressed a million times on shows, bro. Are you in the Discord? I'll post the graphic in there. Darth Bane, do you think Alexa Bliss still ends up with the Wyatts at some point? Yeah, probably. I think that's where we're headed. Eventually, when her and Charlotte break up and they're officially done. Xfinity is $107 a month where I live, and that's temporary. Then all you got to do is talk to their retention department after, and they get it back down. I don't know how a lot of Americans don't know that. Like you, after your contract ends, you call retention, and then they get your bill back down, and then you sign another contract. So David is saying I pay $240 average a month for internet and Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's a lot of money for internet. So I would call retention and ask them to bring it down. Anthony Melendez, I don't know what you're talking about. Do you think Athena is still holding the ROH women's title? It's because they're trying to get a TV deal for ROH? No. Nope. I think that's their way of keeping her relevant. Yeah. I don't have a special relationship with the cable providers. It's just well known. Everybody knows you just have to get back into a new contract. The only reason why your price goes up is because you're out of contract. But why would you get out of a contract? Like if you know you're going to be living at your place for a while, why would you go no contract? It's not a big deal. So Justin, join the Discord. It's been addressed a million times, dude. My whole chat is not paying more. I'm not here to help you guys make your financial decisions like that, bro. I'm telling you guys, if you want to get a cheaper cable bill, you call in to retention and you ask them to lower your bill under a new contract. Everybody's in a different situation. It's not that. It's different, bro. Everybody has a different situation. Everybody's in a whole different situation. Your contracts, what you agree to, the channels you want, it's not one size fits all. My packages are different than yours. Or call the competition and get a different cable provider. I mean, this is what do you guys... Especially in America, cell phone companies and cable companies, TV companies, they literally they're screwing everybody. They've been screwing everybody for 30 years and they get away with it. But when you go to a la carte and then you try to get HBO Max and all these different things, it ends up being more money. So Michael Loretta says, what is Discord? I just put it in the chat through Nightbot. But Discord is a community where we sit and talk about wrestling and stuff. And we're going to be using Discord a lot more moving forward. Discord is going to be we're going to be making some major changes to the Discord, but it's going to be very good. It's going to be very fun. I'm excited about it. Michael says, I have Spectrum, but it comes with HBO Max and Peacock. Yeah, like that happens a lot too. A lot of cable companies offer them for free. So. Which is a good thing, man. Shout out to Byron Cutler in the chat. Shout out to you guys. What else you guys want to talk about? What else? What else? What else? Hit me with it. Let's go, chat. I want to see this chat moving faster and faster and faster. What we going to do, bro? Talk to me, baby. James Hillenbrand says, hey, Ango, I can't wait for WrestlePalooza. I can't wait either. WWE ain't giving us some shit. That's for sure. They're putting some work in there. Do you think AJ Lee will be on SmackDown, show up in a PLE, WrestleMania Royal Rumble? Yeah, she'll be on SmackDown, or they're going to announce her on SmackDown. You know what's crazy, though? Becky Lynch should come out to AJ Lee's music on Friday Night SmackDown. I think that would be the ultimate troll. I think Becky Lynch should interrupt CM Punk's promo. AJ Lee's music hits. Everybody goes crazy. Turns out it's just Becky Lynch. And then AJ Lee sitting in the crowd and she attacks Becky Lynch. I think that's the way to do it on Friday. You really want to make it special. You really want to make it a big deal. You really want to do those things where people get invested in AJ Lee. You got to troll them for a second. WWE Shop already spoiled it. WWE's already leaked it to the dirt sheets. We know that AJ Lee's going to be there. Have Becky Lynch come out there, get the ultimate heel heat. I think that's a wonderful idea. And then AJ Lee really comes out, beats the hell out of Becky Lynch, stands tall with CM Punk. And then we get the official match graphic for WrestlePalooza. I think that's a no-brainer, bro. I think if that happens, WWE is cooking. It's going to go viral on social media. It's going to create more interest for the match. It's going to be a major talking point for the weekend. That's exactly what you do when you got 15, 16,000 people in Chicago watching. So definitely a major move for sure. That would be so funny, bro. It would be so funny. Like that would be such a great way to just get AJ Lee back in the swing of things. I swear. Why WWE spoil it already? Because that's what WWE does. And I'm okay with it. I mean, I talked about it a year ago on the live stream. It's going to happen, so I don't really feel spoiled, I swear. And then AJ Lee sitting in the... You know what I mean? A year ago, we were talking about on live stream. Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch versus CM Punk and AJ Lee. I thought for sure it was going to happen, so... Murray the DJ, shout out to you. Thanks for subscribing, man. Appreciate you stopping by. What's WWE going to do with the WCW shows? I mean, from what it sounds like, they're going to be doing it where it's going to go to ESPN, but that hasn't been officially announced, so I don't know for sure. But apparently ESPN is going to get the tape library once the deal ends with Peacock. And I don't think that's going to be until next year anyways, so... But ESPN wants the tape library for UFC and WWE. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, Murray. Thank you, dog. Appreciate it. Tonka Thomas says, Josh Briggs just came out to the Undertaker's music. Do you think redundancy is a good idea? Yeah, I think it's okay. It's not a big deal. Totally different show, so it's like, why not? The Becky Lynch situation, it just makes so much sense, bro. I don't know. Yeah, it's redundant, but I think it works. I don't think it matters. Do you think NXT need more men to compete for the NXT title, North American title? Seems like there are more women every week, and it's pretty stacked. Women are money. Yeah, David, I think that's a great question, bro. I think right now it's pretty obvious. I think no matter how we try to spin it, I think the men's division needs a little bit more work. I think the men's division in NXT is definitely struggling. I like Ricky Saints. I like... Yeah. I mean, let's just call it what it is. I think they have some good players there. It's just the women are clearly the focal point. Honestly. They need to improve on that for sure. They need to improve on that for sure. It's one area of NXT that I feel like every so often I'm talking about being an issue again. So. And until they fix that, I think I'm going to be more critical of it. Let's see. No, I don't think YouTube's going to get the tape library. What's up, Adam? WWE should put all the belts on Rollins to one up Mercedes. Come on, Darth Bane. What are you talking about? I don't want to see a belt collection gimmick in WWE like that. Hell no. What are you doing, my boy? What are you doing? I can't believe you would want that. That's crazy. Seth Rollins being the belt collector, then we start, I would hate it. Sorry, my boy. I would hate it. I would hate it. What else, chat? What else you got for me? What else you guys want to talk about? Stirring the pot. Mike says maybe Tony could make the fast title. Matches on under 2 minutes, 59 seconds. Well, hold on. What do you guys think about that? WWE speed belts on NXT. What are your thoughts on that? Tony Khan has officially changed. I started reading the comments on my TikTok, and people are already upset about Tony Khan changing it. People do not like the fact that Tony changed it. Damn. Sorry about that. Holy shit. Am I okay? Yeah, hell yeah, I'm okay. This is what happens when you talk for 2 hours on live stream. Upstate New York is $3.95 for basic Wi-Fi. No. Come on. Come on now. What are you guys talking about? That's crazy. What up, Huey? I think AEW should have the Iron Man Championship, but instead of wrestling for an hour, they have to wrestle a whole pay-per-view. And then they could counter-program WWE. What do you guys think of that? Come on, chat. What do you guys think of that, chat? What you think, chat? Yeah, we like that idea. I think the answer is yes. Anybody else have any other super chats that they want to get in, by the way? Feel free to do so now. Before we call it a stream. Speed title is okay in NXT with women, but men need to speed up. Getting more men in there, probably pull up some of the evolved men. Not a bad idea. Why have a 30 or 60-minute match when you could do it in 3 or less? Yes, brother. You get it. All right, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up on an hour and a half. We did hit our super chat goal. Hundreds of viewers tuning in between YouTube and X. So shout out to all of you guys for watching. Shout out to everybody who joined us in the chat. I appreciate you all greatly. I'll be back live tomorrow. We're going to shoot the shit, talk about wrestling. As I've stated earlier, just to clarify, maybe you guys are just joining us, but Billy TKO will not be joining me moving forward on the afternoon live streams. We made that decision today. I want to be very, very consistent with live streams. Our schedules just don't match up. And it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. What can you do? Whenever we could figure something out, we could figure something out. But moving forward, that's going to be the move. So I will be back live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys all joining us. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to David Primero. Shout out to all of you guys. But yeah, I made the decision. I told Billy, I'm like, dude, we gotta. It's a consistency thing, you know. And I just feel like his schedule and my schedule just don't work out. So it kind of sucks. It would be nice if we could do it. We can't. And I don't want to stop streaming because then he can't make it, you know. So. And that's tough, bro. That's tough. But for me, it's like at the end of the day, he just doesn't have the schedule ability to do it. Sometimes he's able to, sometimes he's not able to. It's just not consistent. So we had to make that tough decision. But maybe for pay-per-views and stuff like that, you know, we could figure it out. But, you know, shout out to Judge in the chat. God bless you, my friend. I pray for the best for you. Trust me, you're going to need those prayers. And, yeah. Shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to everybody who came through and dropped a super chat and dropped a like and became a member. Tavon, shout out to you. Darth Bane, David Primero, shout out to all of you guys. Appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow. And it should be very fun. So peace.